Hello, my name's Paul Foden. I'm the CEO of Eden Accounting and a self-confessed lover of management information, but particularly information that matters. I'm going to start with some startling statistics from some very reputable sources. Now, while 89% of trustees claim to be confident with finance, the research from CFG challenges this assertion by assessing board financial competence at 24%. A big difference. And the consequences are alarming. In late 2025, 43% of charities in the UK spent more than they earned, a steep rise from previous years. So what are we going to take from this? I'm going to suggest that a part of the underlying cause, not the only part, but nonetheless an important part, is that trustees don't pay sufficient attention to their financial reports. And why is that? Because they're boring. They're presented in a very dry, traditional format which hasn't changed for years and doesn't highlight the key issues that the board needs to address. That is the case for dashboards. So what makes a good dashboard? It isn't simply about taking the current financial reports and putting them into monthly trends, although that's often a good start. There's more to it than that. The starting point for any good dashboard should be these three questions. Who is the audience? What's the time frame they're considering? And what decisions are they trying to make? Now, there are many different audiences with many different perspectives that they want to consider. Within a charity, you have a multiplicity of stakeholders, both internal and external. Trustees, donors, volunteers, the leadership team, department heads, project managers, the taxman and the charity commission. All of them want different views of the same kinds of information. There are three natural timeframes, and they're determined by the decision-making objectives. Current, the immediate here and now, what do I need to prioritise next? Weekly or monthly, to look at operational trends, root causes and corrective actions. Quarterly, annually, to look at the strategic direction and consider the longer-term consequences of operational decisions. The most important consideration is to think about the decisions you're trying to enable. What information is required to help the decision makers make an informed judgment? There are several attributes which distinguish good dashboards from the ordinary. Firstly, users must be able to trust the data. It's vital that it's reliable, which implies there should be controls over the input of the underlying information. And it must be timely. It's no good if the data is weeks out of date. There's an expectation of continuous information which challenges the traditional view of a protracted month-end close for management information. Users must be able to understand the information. Jargon and acronyms are often lazy typing and should be avoided. There will always be new or occasional users for whom these will present embarrassing obstacles because they don't want to look foolish in front of their peers. However, try not to overwhelm the viewer with a waterfall of data. Choose your metrics thoughtfully, considering the objectives of the dashboard. The most important information should be in position A1 on the top row and then work down. Filters allow the users to focus on an area, be it a specific topic or a time period. They bring a magnifying glass to the problem. Drill down capability allows the users to investigate spikes or anomalies in the data. The spontaneity of this feature is massively helpful. Rather than having to wait a few hours or days for an explanation, investigating personally without interruption is very empowering, both for the user and the creators of the dashboards, who need to have the confidence to allow this to happen. Lastly, we're all part of this always-on data-empowered world. Providing dashboards via the web on multiple platforms allows better use of time to suit the user's preferences. So that's the theory. Now let me show you a practical example of how to build a dashboard in Salesforce. We've already defined the key attributes: audience, timeframe, objectives. Now let's convert this into a Salesforce design. You're able to have unlimited dashboards, but each can have 20 components or graphs. And these are available in 11 formats, and on top of that you have 5 filters. All of them have drill down capability, so there's a lot to play with. I've already started this concert success dashboard. I have my filters in place and I built my first 6 components. I'm now going to add income from concerts compared with budget. So let me show you how. I start on the reports menu. Often I will choose an existing report and modify it, but in this case I'm going to build it from scratch. I click on New and we're off. The report type we need is Ledger Entries with Analysis 2. The Ledger Entries stores all the posting data, and the Analysis 2 is used for our projects, and we will want to filter down onto our concert projects. We click on Start. We see that there are 2 parts. The outline, which defines the fields that we want to display. This can include all sorts of clever formulas, but not today. Then there are filters, which define the records that we want to include in the report. Simple but clever. I like to start with the filters because it makes the information that populates the draft report easier to work with. I change the ledger entries to all, set the date to the current financial year, select the income nominal code range, which the ones less than or equal to 1999, choose the analysis codes that I want to include with a contains match for patient and private concerts, and then select the actual and financial budget layers. You will have noticed that the preview window has changed as we went along, but there isn't much information showing. We'll sort that out now. I add the fields either from the list or via the search bar. Layers, date, nominal code name, and reverse movement. This turns credits into positive numbers so that we don't have negative income. And that is all we need. Now comes the clever part. Firstly, we group our data by date. Then we group date by calendar month. Then we group by layers. Now we want to add a report component. The default isn't quite what we want, so let's adjust it by clicking on Edit. We change the report format to a vertical column histogram, add a title, then in the x-axis, as well as date, we want the layer type, actual or budget. I like to show values, and finally we will move the legend to the bottom. We save and run to see if we like the look of it. We do, so let's add it to our dashboard. If we've been smart, we can use the settings from the report and put it straight into the dashboard. It is added to the bottom, and we drag and drop it to the position where we need it. Then we rinse and repeat for all the other components until the dashboard is finished. Here's the finished article. We have metrics showing the number of concerts delivered, gauges showing the audience net promoter score. The non-financial KPIs are presented as line graphs. The financials are presented as histograms. Scrolling down, we can see some donuts showing the distribution of the concerts and the income between Manchester and Great Ormond Street. Scrolling further, we can see the joiners and leavers, with tables identifying the individuals by name. Lastly, going back to the top, we can see the filters, and let's just check that they're working by looking at the Christie's projects. All is good. Building dashboards, even quite complex ones that you see here, becomes easy with a little practice. Also, there are a ton of learning resources to help you if you get stuck. As well as the amazing free Salesforce trailheads, there are courses on Udemy. There's the Salesforce knowledge base and the Salesforce community, who can be extraordinarily helpful. Finally, there are the AI tools, which are getting better and better. And lastly, my favourite, the definitive work on the visual display of quantitative information by Edward Tufte. Well, thank you for watching this webinar. Dashboards are so powerful and yet so underused. I hope that you'll be able to adopt them in your organisation, and if you need any help, please do contact us. Best wishes, and see you on the next one.